Hello and welcome to this 14th episode of our second season, the Denver Homes Market Report. This is your local realtor and the host of this now monthly podcast, Ricky.schoonover of Mode Denver Real Estate. I sure appreciate all of you who are tuning in each month. I know when we had our podcast going out every single week, our biggest shows were always our end of month comparison shows. This is where we first jump into our MLS time machine, and we'll be going back and seeing how many deals we closed in the Denver Metro MLS last August of 2020. We'll then fast forward back to present day, and we'll analyze the data from this most recent August 2021, and we'll determine if we closed more deals this year, or did we perhaps close more deals last year in the middle of the pandemic. Then, of course, I want to take a look at July and August of 2020, as far as how many listings we had available for sale as it compares to how many listings we had for the same 2 months in 2021. If we don't have many homes to choose from, it's really difficult to get buyers excited about something to buy. Everyone has different needs and different budgets and little nuances, and sometimes it can be really difficult, even if you have 20 or 30,000 listings to choose from. Finding that perfect home that fits all of your needs and can be in the area where you want to be in and within budget can really be a challenge. The idea that you can just go onto some national site and sift through the thousands and thousands of needles in a haystack and somehow find the perfect one for you. All this technology, it's helpful, but it can also be almost too much information and become a hindrance, and not to mention the time consuming. You need a professional on your side, someone that can help you navigate and keep you focused on your goals. Having the right realtor helping you find the right home can be the difference between success and just simply being overwhelmed. And quite frankly, after browsing through thousands of homes that maybe have a pretty picture and caught your eye, but they actually don't fit your needs. Many buyers, they just give up. They never even bother reaching out to a professional for help. And the most common thing I hear when I talk to these folks is, well, I'm not quite ready to get a realtor involved yet. I don't want to waste their time, and I don't really know how much it costs. I know that we've touched on this subject before. However, sometimes it's good to revisit a topic just in case you missed it, or perhaps you lost sight of even your own goals of homeownership. So let's start with a bold statement here. There is never a time that is too early to get Ricky.schoonover of Mode Denver Real Estate involved with my home search. Let me repeat this again. There is never a time too early to get me involved with your home search. When I finally get a chance to sit down with a client, they're often shocked, but it's 100% true. I sometimes work with buyers and with sellers for days, weeks, months, even years before we actually work together in either buying or selling their home. And this is not unusual. I keep in contact. I offer to help with getting my sellers' homes ready for market. On that note, I have an entire team who works with me. If you need a house cleaner, a painter, an electrician, a plumber, you need your HVAC system tuned up, you need some landscaping done or a tree removed. Heck, I even have a concrete guy who can help with leveling floors and building retaining walls. Whatever your home might need in order to maximize your top dollar in your investment, I have someone to help you get that home ready for market. Now, a couple of things to note. I did not build trust with this team overnight. It's taken me years to build a relationship. When you, as my client, you call one of my contractors or my contacts, and you let them know you're working with Ricky.schoonover, they are going to make every effort to get your project to the head of the line. So, with that being said, I often do not get my team involved until you and I have an agreement in place. After all, when you go to work, whether it's an hourly position or a salary position, whatever it is, when you perform your job, you expect to get paid. for me, works a little bit differently. So I only get paid once I've helped my clients to either successfully purchase or sell their home. And if you're a buyer, you never pay me here at Mode Denver Real Estate. There are other firms out there who charge their buyers all sorts of junk fees. They have all sorts of names they use, but do not be fooled. Transaction coordinator fees, admin fees, franchising fees, whatever. They're all junk fees. And for you as a buyer, should look elsewhere if you see any of these fees in your buyer agreement. Which the buyer agreement, it's officially called the exclusive right to buy listing contract. This is the form that you sign when you want to sign on to a brokerage to help you buy a home. And it's a contract. I mean, yes, it's a contract. It spells out all the duties your broker shall provide for you as their buyer client. It also spells out how the brokerage will get paid. Here at Mode Denver Real Estate, and here me specifically, I always negotiate, at least on our buyer side, I always negotiate our commissions either from the seller or the listing brokerage, not our buyers. So if you're thinking of hiring a broker to help you buy your next home, you should first off ask for an exclusive right to buy listing contract. And then once they present that form to you, you'll want to check sections 7.1.1 and 7.3.3. If there's anything other than 2.8% in that section, or even the section above it or below it, that's your first red flag. Now the 2.8%, it's negotiable. It's a rate that generally here in the Denver metro area, you're going to see on the buyer's representation at 2.8%. Then I want you to scroll down to section 7.3.3. This particular phrase should be checked. Listing brokerage firm or seller may pay. Buyer is not obligated to pay. When that section right there is checked, that's taking you off the hook for the commissions for the most part, and laying it to the listing brokerage and or the seller to provide those to the brokerage and for us to negotiate directly for those. Not 7.3.1 or 7.3.2. No, those are not acceptable. If you see any other check mark than 7.3.3, you should be negotiating with that broker, or better yet, maybe you just move on and find another one. Give me a call. We never charge any junk fees, and we always negotiate, at least for our buy side, we always negotiate with either the seller or the seller's broker. We never hold our buyers to pay any fees. I mean, come on. Buying a house is expensive enough already. You don't have to accept these extra fees. So I know contracts can be super confusing. However, just put this in your mind right here, 7.3.3 and 7.1.1, looking for a success fee of 2.8%. That's sort of what's going on here in Denver metro area, so keep your eyes open for that. Then if you see any other fees other than that commission, then I would question that. And no matter what the explanation is, no matter how official or how standard or customary the broker makes it sound, it's not. It's a junk fee that is not required and would not be asked of you if you were working with me here at Mode Denver Real Estate. Okay, so I kind of got off track just a little bit, but all important stuff, both for buyers and sellers. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's podcast. So first, let's jump into my MLS time machine. We're going to take a trip back to August 2020. It was a pretty scary time for everyone. We were finally accepting the fact that this virus was not going away anytime soon. We still didn't have any of the vaccines approved at this point. People were trying all sorts of stuff to see if they could fight off the virus. There was even this sad story where, I think it was out of Arizona, where a couple took chloroform, which was some sort of cleaner for a fish tank. And the gentleman died and the wife was hospitalized. I mean, it was getting desperate. By this time, we had already sort of gotten into our new routines. I mean, the National Realtor Association and the local and state associations, they'd all provided fairly clear guidance on how to conduct our day-to-day operations. We were wiping down surfaces before and after showings, wearing masks, having our clients drive their own cars to meet me at the showings. We were only allowing one party at a time into the homes to be shown. And we had COVID forms where everyone would sign basically, holding each other, not holding each other liable and vowing to take, precautions and that kind of thing. We were all healthy. And with all this going on, how many homes do you think we sold in the month of August of 2020? Well, 11,553. In the middle of the pandemic, in August last year, we sold 11,553 homes. Now, we fast forward to this past August, 2021, we sold just 9,363. Wow. I mean, last year we sold 2,190 more homes in August of 2020 over August of 2021. That's pretty incredible. So, are we slowing down from last year? The short answer is yes. However, let's look at why we are slower this year over last. Let's look at the active listings. The active listings are the homes that are listed on the MLS or the multiple listing service website. This is where all of us realtors post your home for sale when we have a listing, and it's where all of us buyer brokers come to find the homes that match our buyers' needs. Last year, in July of 2020, we had a total of nearly 26,000 homes throughout the month of July of 2020. Then in August of 2020, we had nearly 24,000, 2,000 less. Then we fast forward to this past July of 2021, we only had 14,000 listings. I mean, that's 12,000 less than last year. And then in August of 2021, we had less than 11,000 homes for sale. So again, 13,000 less homes, like less than half. When you look at supply and demand, you see that with fewer listings on the market, we have fewer homes to sell. This affects both the prices, which have really shot up this past year, but had been increasing over the past few years anyway. And then this fuels the demand as buyers start thinking, if they don't buy a home now, they may never in the near future be able to buy a home. And this fear of missing out, it's a real phenomenon. Low inventory may not be the only driver, but is certainly one of the factors as to why this year's real estate is slower than last year. I was talking to a client just last week who asked me, if last year people were buying homes and it was kind of crazy because they were now able to work remotely and they were moving from wherever their office was, say it was in California or maybe New York or wherever, and they were moving into Denver. And I said, there may be some of that, but I don't think it was a driving factor. Nor do I think people all of a sudden wanted to go out and buy a new home because they needed a room dedicated to be the home office. I mean, again, maybe there was some of that, maybe a few cases, particularly towards the end of last year, but not enough to move the needle. Certainly not, 2,000 sales in 1 month or more than 2,000 sales in 1 month. So in closing, yes, the market is slower this year over last year. We did have a spike in demand last April, May, June. And if you were a seller back in those months, you very well may have hit a peak in the market. The market's still moving along nicely, and it's finally getting to a point where it's a decent environment for buyers, and it's still a really great environment for sellers. If you're thinking of buying or selling your Denver metro area home, give me a call. Ricky.schoonover, Mode Denver Real Estate, 720-688-5110. Give that to you again. It's 720-688-5110. That's going to wrap up today's show. I hope you enjoyed this month's content, and I hope you'll tune in next month. Have a great month.